Congratulations, first of all, on your Olympic efforts. Absolutely awesome. What was the mood like at the first real post-COVID Olympic Games?
It was exciting. I think the first morning being there for the 4x1 freestyle and actually seeing people back in the stands. I got to walk out pre-race and spot cousins and parents and family up in the stands, which was special. But just to have 17,000 people yelling and going crazy again lifted the atmosphere. And I've got so many mates from overseas also, so we've been able to actually catch up with them and have sit-down dinners in the food hall and shake hands again, and all those little things you missed out on in COVID was made it so much more special. And I guess that's what you work so hard for. And Tokyo was great in its own way, but didn't feel like an Olympics, whereas this felt back to that special Olympics.
And what was the French crowd like? From what we could see on TV, it looked like they really turned out for it.
Yeah, crazy. Like every race I competed in, there was French swimmers in, which made the crowd go pretty wild. But they were very, very passionate supporters, and they had quite a lot of success in the pool, which made them, I guess, be even louder for their athletes. So I was lucky to, use some of that energy for myself in my own race. But it was nice having that little bit of extra noise, knowing that there was French swimmers in next to me.
And then from a performance standpoint, how happy were you coming away from it? Obviously 3 medals, you got silver in the 100. That's a really good games. How did you sort of evaluate yourself after it?
Yeah, super proud of my performance. Obviously, to come away with a medal special, but to come away with 3s exceeded my expectations for sure. So, I can't be happier with how things panned out, and super proud of myself going to my 3rd Olympics and being able to win medals again. So, but also motivated. I'm now on 9 Olympic medals, and it would be nice to finish on double digits and be at 10 at least.
Absolutely, mate. Did the pool feel slower at all? There were reports coming out that it was a slower pool than normal.
Yeah, there was reports of that, and that's what I started to hear, I guess, those first few days. But I think as the meet progressed, people started to swim a whole lot faster. And I mean, there was world records broken, Olympic records broken. So for me, I look at that and go, well, it's not a slow pool if people are managing to succeed and swim that fast. So in my opinion, probably not the slowest pool, but I also don't look into those things. I think for me, especially a general public, people who follow swimming every 4 years when it's on at the Olympics, all they remember is who wins the race rather than times. And I've never been a person that's been too focused on times. It's all about swimming the race and trying to get your hand on the wall first and trying to win. So for me, that's not something I would have looked into too much.
One of those world records you mentioned was Pan Zhanle in the 100. What was it like seeing him sort of hit that world record in the final?
It was crazy. I think it's a time that I never dreamed possible in the 100 freestyle. Like I've said a few times now, I thought that I've been capable of swimming 46.9 if I got it right on the day. And that was the world record that stood for a very long time, since 2009. So to now see a 46.4, I think it's exciting for the 100 freestyle, like my event, because I know that not only myself, but the boys from around the world are going to have to swim a whole lot faster if they're going to be competitive in that event. And I think that everyone is now going to be training to swim 46.4. So I think that the event is going to progress very quickly now. So it was cool to be a part of that race for sure.
Is that one of those things that it kind of flips a switch in everyone, that they realise like these sort of crazy times are possible now?
Absolutely. Once you see one person do it, I think it makes us all believe now it is possible. So I do think, like I said, that the event is going to progress quite rapidly now, and we'll start to see a lot more people swimming at 46 seconds for sure.
There's obviously a little bit of commentary around you and Pan, and like maybe a feud or something. You guys obviously sorted that out. What was the reaction like being inside that while it was happening?
Yeah, I mean, from my end, I found it really weird. Like there was never any animosity or feud going on. Like every interaction I'd ever had with him was positive. Like especially the 100 freestyle. Like I spoke to him in the marshalling room before the race, which doesn't normally happen in that 100 freestyle. You wouldn't normally speak to your competitors all that much, but we spoke. I congratulated him in the pool after the race was swum, and then again on the podium, and then we had a good chat. I was with his coaches and him. We had a translator, had a really good chat about the race, about, he was saying that I was his idol and he never thought that he'd be in a race with me, and now he's beating me. And it was a cool interaction, I think, for me. And then that kind of come out after the 100 freestyle. I don't know whether it was just translated or taken wrong. I'm not really sure, but I reached out to him on Instagram, and I'm glad that we were able to resolve that. He then went to the media and said that they'd got it wrong, which obviously takes a lot of courage as well. So I've got nothing but respect for him as an athlete and as a person for doing something like that, because it was very stressful, and I was receiving thousands and thousands and thousands of very passionate Chinese supporters sending me pretty rude messages or lots of death threats and stuff as well, which was quite scary to go through during the Olympic Games, because you just, I guess, don't know how serious they actually are. So I was lucky to have a good support team around me, but as soon as Pan came out and said that in the media, it all died down, which was good.
Absolutely. Yeah, even when we were reporting it, some of the stuff we were seeing in the comments, I couldn't imagine what it would have been like sort of being on the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. And, I'm still getting, it's one of those things that, like, you can get 100 or 99, you get 100 comments on your Instagram post, 99 of them are positive. You get that one negative comment, you really focus in on that kind of why doesn't that person like me, or why are they saying that? But when you're getting like tens of thousands of messages on every single Instagram post I've ever had, it was very overwhelming and stressful. So I had to turn off comments and turn off direct messages and turn off tagging, so no one could kind of tag me and stuff, which was quite challenging, because I enjoy being on social media during competition just so I can stay in contact and touch with family and friends back home, and see all the positive comments, especially from, my hometown in Port Lincoln, or my grandparents, and those things you miss out on if you're not able to be tagged and stuff.
Speaking of that, especially in the pool, it seemed like the Aussie women really exceeded expectations and performed super well. Do you think that was just a coincidence, or do you think there are factors involved that make our women's team so strong?
Our women are amazing, and I think it's, led by former Dolphins that have had great success at international level, which has made the younger girls believe that possible. And for them to make it onto the Australian team is such a big deal. So we have to be competitive in Australia. And then once they're on the Australian team, anything's possible. So I do think that our women are incredible. And as a big swimming fan, I love nothing more than to watching these girls break world records, win Olympic gold medals every night, win relays, break Olympic records. It's a special team to be a part of at the moment. And I think, even the next generation of girls coming through are swimming so fast. Like, we've got so much talent coming through, and it's because they have to be the very best in the world to make the Australian swimming team. So they've got to believe that from a very young age. So, I'm excited for obviously the now, but also the future is going to be very bright also.
In the lead up to these Olympics, Cate Campbell went viral with some comments about your relationship with the American team and the rivalry you guys have. Did you notice any extra any edge in there, any vibe in the pool between that rivalry with you guys?
No, some of my very, very best friends on pool deck are American. So for me, Caleb Dressel, who beat me in Tokyo, has been one of my great mates, and Ryan Murphy, who I've been with since Rio. I'm so excited to be able to see them on pool deck and chat with them in the marshalling room and whatnot. Like, I have, I don't have rivalries, or I just enjoy racing against the best in the world, and I didn't feel any more of that. And I think the comments were probably quite unnecessary. It just created, unnecessary tension, I guess, between the US and Australians potentially, or it could have. But for me, like I said before, I'm pretty sheltered and pretty stay in my sort of bubble in that sort of stuff. So for me, it didn't impact me whatsoever.
And then looking forward, obviously, next Olympics in LA, how are you looking forward to that? That'll be a massive games, obviously, swimming in LA.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. I think, to be honest, I never thought that I'd make it to 3 Olympics. So if I'm able to be the second Aussie male to make it to a 4th Olympics, it would be an incredible honour. But I'm a realist. I know that there's young, amazing freestyle talents coming through in Australia that are going to beat me at some point. So I would love to be able to hold on until LA 2028. But my time is going to come, unfortunately, at some point. So I'm very hopeful that I'll be able to make it to the LA 2028 games. But if not, I know that I've had a fantastic career to now that I'm super proud of, and being able to be in LA would be definitely the icing on the cake.
Absolutely. Moving out of the pool, what was your favourite non-swimming viewing highlight? Did you get to catch any of the other stuff going on that you were super stoked about?
Yeah, I did. I actually went to Norway for the second week of the Olympics with my fiance. So as soon as the swimming was done, I went to went to Norway and spent time with her. So I was watching the Norwegian stream, which was pretty exciting, I guess. I think they don't have as much success as the Aussies, but being able to, just watch the Olympic Games unfold it gave me a better appreciation for what the Olympics actually is, because my last 3 experiences has just been me swimming, and then you don't get to experience anything else. So being able to watch, like the basketball, then you're flicking across to these like athletic sports that I've never seen before, and then you're on the track for cycling, watching the marathon. Like, it was just awesome being a fan and being able to watch so much sport go on all day, really. So for me, there's no real like highlight that stands out. It's just watching the Olympics and being a fan of the Olympic Games was actually special, being able to appreciate what Olympics actually is.
Absolutely. You mentioned basketball there. Did you have any chance to catch up with Cate again?
No, not this time around, unfortunately. Again, like I said, I think being third time around, I had a job to do, and it was like going to work almost. So being in and around the village is a lot of stimulation that can zap a lot of energy. And I knew that if I was going to perform this year, I had to put all my energy into myself and my own swimming and my own sport. So I didn't spend too much time outside of my room kind of fanboying NBA players this time around, which was unfortunate. But the US team also never stay in the village either. So it's a very hard person, or they're very hard to come in contact with.
I can imagine. Looking forward, even past LA, obviously we've got Brisbane in 2032. How do you think the Aussie swim team will be shaping up for that? Do you think they'll have a real dominant home games?
Yeah, I mean, there's some amazing talents that are coming through that will be starting to hit their prime when we get to Brisbane, which is exciting. Like, for me, it's such a long way to think, and it's crazy to think that that's kind of just around the corner, really. But I think it's just going to be so exciting for Aussies swimming in front of a home crowd at a home Olympics, and I think that will bring the very best out of our swim team in all our sports. But obviously our swimming team is probably the pride and joy of the Olympic team in terms of we have so much success. So I expect that if I'm there, if I'm not there, that the Aussies will still continue to dominate in the pool.
I was going to say that. Obviously, you talked about LA possibly being like your final run. Is there any tiny sliver of hope maybe you could jag a spot on that Brisbane team at all?
I mean, I think it would be the most incredible thing to go to a home Olympics, especially being in Brazil and seeing how the Brazilian crowds got around their athletes. And then obviously Tokyo was COVID, so there was no crowd. But the French this year, seeing how much they got around their athletes, like, I think it would be incredible to be able to walk out in front of 15 to 17,000 Australian supporters and have that feeling of a home Olympics. So if I make it through to LA 2028, I mean, it would be very hard to retire before a home Olympics. So who knows what happens? Who knows what the future holds? Hopefully my body holds up. I think my mind will, but it'll be completely up to my body.
Yeah, definitely. Cam McAvoy, he made headlines leading into it for his unorthodox training style, like the real limited time in the pool. It clearly worked out for him. Do you think it's a training regime that could be applied to other events at all, or is it just kind of specialised to that 50?
Nah, definitely specialised for that 50. Like, Cam swims for 22 seconds or 21 seconds, whereas I've got 47. I'm the next closest and I've got 47 seconds. So for me, you've got to train hard to have a back end and like be able to be consistent over that 100 metres. Like, you've got to have a fair bit of aerobic training in there. So it is exciting, obviously, him being 30 at his 4th Olympic Games. Like, I think it does give hope to a lot of us athletes that we can continue to swim on and swim personal best times and succeed at older ages. So I think that's really positive for me and people in other events. But unfortunately, I think it's more targeted for the 50. I mean, there's probably some aspects that we can probably take into our own training or daily lives, but I haven't had a good chance to speak to Cam or sit down and actually look into what he's doing completely. But I know that me at the moment, I'm swimming close to 50 kilometres a week. Dropping down to swimming 3 kilometres a week or somewhere in between there just probably wouldn't work. And I mean, I've had so much success in the 100 freestyle across the last 9 years now that why fix what's not broken, really? Like, I'll continue to do what I know works for me.
Yeah, definitely. What do the next few months look like for you in terms of training? Like, you mentioned you're going over to Vegas for the UFC now. Is it take a few months, chill, get back into it, or are you kind of straight away?
For me, it is about taking some time off now. Just if I am going to swim on to LA 2028, now's the only chance I'm probably going to have a proper break before then. So for me, it's been really important just to get back to Adelaide, spend time with family and friends. Had an engagement party on the weekend. Obviously, that's something I'm now starting to prepare and plan for, is my wedding next year. But yeah, Vegas this week for UFC with some mates. And then I'll probably get back in the pool towards the middle to end of September and work towards World Short Course at the end of the year in Budapest. So there's something in swimming to look forward to. But for me, I've just got to get my body right. My body's always taken a bit of a beating, and it took a bit of a beating this year as always. So just need to have a little bit of time off to let that settle and let the mind settle and probably understand what's just gone on. And then, yeah, when I'm ready to get back in the pool, I think my body and mind will tell me.
You mentioned in previous years, obviously having a bit of a desire to even jump over and play AFL a little bit. You spoke to some clubs. Have you put that to bed now, or is it still something inside you that's like, maybe I'll make that switch still?
Nah, definitely put that to bed now, especially I'm 26 years old. I think the last kind of conversation I had was with Geelong back in 2020. And they said that they were really keen to have me on board as a Category B rookie. But if I was to do that, it had to be after Tokyo in 2021. And, I'm 3 years past that now. So 26 is too old to make a switch. And also, I would have never played a game. Like, I grew up with so many amazingly talented footballers that never quite made it to AFL, who sacrificed their whole life to chase that dream. But it would be super unrealistic for me to go from swimming to a completely different sport, contact sport, and try and play football as much as I would love to have. And that was the dream growing up, as it is most Australian kids. I know that it would have never been possible.
Do you think at all that swimming could be losing possible stars to these football codes at all?
For sure. And I spent time doing a meet and greet on the weekend at my local Westfield shopping centre, and I met lots of young, talented kids, and lots of them were playing football, lots of them were who were swimming, and they kind of said, "Oh, well, what made you make that decision?" Like, I had multiple conversations of the same thing, and even my coach here in Adelaide, he spends a lot of time at kind of development swimming clubs, and we continue to lose a lot of talent to those team sports. And fair enough, like, there's nothing better than playing in a team and, your weekend playing in a team sport, and the training. It's a lot easier on the mind, I think, than being in your own headspace for 4 to 5 hours a day in the swimming pool. But we do definitely have to do a better job in Australia at somehow harbouring the talent that we do have and getting them to stay in the sport. And I think that's why our men aren't as good as our women on the swimming team, because we do lose so many swimmers or potential swimmers to those big team dominated male sports like Aussie rules, rugby league, basketball, cricket. Like, there's so many avenues that swimmers go down, whereas the women in swimming they haven't had that opportunity probably previously. Now they do. So it'll be interesting to see whether that switches around at all. But I think as Swimming Australia or whatnot, they have to do a better job at encouraging that middle-aged teenage group to stay in the pool for longer and give it a go and find incentive to do that.
Do you think possibly the Home Olympics coming up could be something for those kids that go like, if I start going good now, I could be the star of Brisbane, or I could compete in Brisbane at all?
I'd like to say yes, but I still think that that's not going to be the biggest draw card is still to play Aussie rules football in front of 50,000 every week with your teammates, and it's a very hard switch. It's very hard to compete with that. But I think that, like I said, people just have to find incentive. They have to incentivize these kids or find a way to allow them to stay in the sport, or give them more opportunity and reason why they should stay in the sport, because it's very hard to compete with team sports that go all year round. The Olympics for us is every 4 years. Like, it's a long time in between. But if you're playing 23 weeks of the year, you're playing football games with your mates, it's pretty enticing. Well, I feel it is anyway.